Hi, good morning. This is our first activity on the wood structure and identification. You have already gained knowledge on what is wood, what is the background of wood, how you are going to define wood, and what are the some basic properties of wood. So right now, in this first activity, I am going to discuss to you some essentials. Those are basic essentials on identification and describing wood. So in your material, I have discussed to you the basic information on what is the importance of wood identification and what are the methods of wood identification. So you can just check that in your materials. Those things are very essential because wood has a lot of uses, and if you are going to use wood or utilize wood as a forester, you need to know what should be the right wood to be used for a specific purpose. So you need to describe, or you need to know these properties, these basic essential properties, for you to clearly define what should be the function of that wood, how it would be used, and would it perform on that specific use. So we are going to describe wood in this video. Right now, I'm going to teach you about planes of wood. So we have three planes of wood. First, the cross section, the tangential section, and then the radial section. So in the cross section, right on, for example, when you cut wood perpendicular, again perpendicular to the longitudinal axis, then what is exposed is the cross section. So in the cross section, you can already see the basic features of wood: the heartwood, the sapwood, phloem, the bark, etc. And also, in the cross section, this one is the most important part for wood identification, because what is exposed in the cross section are already the pores or the cavities of the vessels, the fibers, etc. Also see the parenchyma in the cross section if you use the wood lens. So when you use a wood lens and then you try to magnify a certain section of the wood, then you can already see those basic features that you will learn the next discussions. So again, what is exposed when you cut the wood perpendicular to the longitudinal axis is the cross section, which is this one. So assume, for example, that we cut a certain portion of this wood and then we expose this one, for example. So parallel, remember that the wood rays from the pith, the wood rays crosses the wood going to the ends of the bark. Parallel to those wood rays, what is exposed, if we cut this certain piece of wood and you expose this part right here, what is exposed right here is the radial section parallel to the wood rays. For example, for this piece of wood, the wood rays runs along from here to right here. So what is exposed in this portion is the radial plane. In the radial plane, you can already see the wood rays, the procumbent and decumbent cells of the wood rays. So what are those? So we are going to discuss that in the next topics. So remember, we have the cross section, and again, when you cut a certain piece of wood and expose this section right here parallel to the wood rays, that is the radial section. And then perpendicular, again, as I've said, the wood rays runs along from the pith, from this point going outwards. Parallel to that, you expose the radial section, and perpendicular to that, what you expose is the tangential section. So for example, in this piece of wood, exposed right here is the tangential section. Tangent, it is tangent to the wood. That is the tangential section. So what you can observe in the tangential ends of wood rays. So aside from the ends of wood rays, the figure of wood is really exposed in the tangential section. So those are the three basic planes of wood. And also, to add on, the movement of water. Remember that wood is hygroscopic material. Therefore, it absorbs and releases water. So the most exposed section for those absorption and release of water is the cross section. Why? Because the cavities of wood are open in this section. So this is where much of water is released and absorbed in the piece of wood. So again, we have three basic planes of wood. We have the cross section parallel to the wood race. For example, the wood race, parallel to that, what is exposed is the radial section, and perpendicular to that wood race, what is exposed is the tangential section. So those three are the basic planes of wood. So let's discuss the structural features observable in the cross section of wood. So first, let's divide this into major parts. This section from this point up to the end in this point, this one is the wood, or what we call as the xylem. So the xylem is the fibrovascular tissue, that is the wood. So the whole xylem is the wood. Next to wood, we have this slimy portion right here at the ends of the wood, between the bark and between the phloem and the bark and the wood. Between that, we have the vascular cambium. So vascular cambium are meristematic cells, meaning they are growing cells. So the wood itself, the phloem, originates from the vascular cambium. So next to vascular cambium outwards, we have the phloem. You cannot actually observe that directly, but the phloem is right here next to vascular cambium, and then the bark. Remember, we have major sections. We have the wood or the xylem. Next to the xylem, we cannot actually observe directly, but next to that is the vascular cambium, and then next to the vascular cambium is the phloem, and then the bark. So let's discuss first about the wood. So let's focus first on the most important part in our discussion, which is the wood. So remember, wood is xylem, a xylem tissue. Therefore, this is the tissue which is responsible for the conduction of water. So it is the fibrovascular tissue. That is the main definition of wood. So in the centermost portion of wood, we have this pith. So the pith is the weakest part of the wood. That is because during the growing season, or atong gatubo pa ang kahoy, as it increases its length, this portion absorbs all stresses. So the pith is the weakest point of wood. So next to pith, you can see that there are two major color. First, this one is the somehow a whitish color, and then a darker color right here. So this one is the heartwood. Next to pith, that is the heartwood. Then the sapwood. Heartwood are already dead cells. So the cells in the heartwood are already dead because the lignin, that is a chemical component of wood, had already covered all the cell wall. The cells in the heartwood had already matured, and it is already lignified. The effect of that, the effect of lignification, is that the wood is already dead. I mean, the cells are already dead. So in this portion, in the heartwood. Next to the heartwood is the sapwood. The sapwood are living cells. These cells are most active in the conduction of water and including food. The sapwood. Again, the pith, the heartwood, the sapwood. Those three composes the wood. That is the xylem tissue. Now, if we, for example, in our example wood, we cut this one, we remove the bark and the phloem. So what is exposed right here, when it is still fresh, this section is somewhat slimy. So what is present in this section is actually the vascular cambium. So the vascular cambium is the source of phloem and the source of the xylem. That is the meristematic tissue, meaning they are growing. So the xylem, the wood, is developed from the vascular cambium, which is found a very thin section between the xylem and then the phloem. Now, the phloem is right here, outside the vascular cambium. The phloem is responsible for the conduction of food. And then outside the phloem, there's what we call as cork cambium, and then the bark, which is important for the protection of wood. So the way back in the heartwood, the discoloration of heartwood is not just because of the lignification, but also because of the presence of extractives. So extractives are chemicals that are produced by the wood, and it's distinct in the several species. For example, for the pines, they produce resins. So the extractives are the main reasons which are very important for the protection of wood. What are those types of extractives? So we are going to discuss that in the future topics or in your utilization. Okay, so we are going to discuss now the physical features of wood. So these features are important for identification because some species exhibit a certain feature which are very distinct. Now, what are those physical features? One is color, and then we have the odor and taste. Then we have the figure, the grain and texture, the luster, and then the hardness. So let's start first with color. Now, color is a physical property of wood which varies not only among different species but also within species. Now, some species exhibit a certain color which is very distinct. For example, this one is a specimen of bangkal. So if you can see, the color is bright orange. So the bright orange color is very distinct in the species, in the specimen of bangkal. And then also we have like this one. This one is tindalo, and this one is nara. So in the heartwood of tindalo and nara, the most common distinct features is the reddish color, like this. So the reddish pattern from a dark red toward light red until the sapwood, which is brownish. The same with the tindalo. Another, we have the almasiga. The color of the almasiga is buff, or it is light brown. For the species of belonging to Ibinaceae, and then the O, or the O which is from Anacardiaceae, the common feature of those species is the dark strip. This one. They have this certain dark portion in the heartwood, or dark strips in the heartwood. So those are very distinct for the specimens in the Ibinaceae. Now this one is red lawaan. So for the red lawaan, if you try to observe the color, that is dark, very dark brown color. So next to color, we have the odor and taste. So commonly, the odor and taste of the specimens, or for the wood, is very distinct in the heartwood section. Remember, we discussed the sapwood, the heartwood. Remember, the heartwood, in the section, there are presence of extractives. Those extractives are most responsible for the odor and taste of this wood specimen. For example, for the tindalo, the distinct, accordingly, if this one is a fresh specimen, the distinct odor of tindalo is fresh beans. So there are some other species, like for example, for the dungon, it smells like a leather. Akli, it smells like a sawdust, etc. So some species has really distinct odor, which is very important in wood identification. If you try to mabahuan pa lang nimo ang isa ka specimen, now you can already identify unsa na siya nga kahoy. Another physical feature of wood is the figure. Now, the figure is observed in the tangential and radial section. So what is figure? So figure is a pattern or design. So the pattern or design produced on the smooth longitudinal surface of wood as a result of the arrangement of tissues and the nature of grain. Again, the figure is a pattern or design produced on the longitudinal surface. For example, this one is a specimen of Tangile. So this one is cut in its longitudinal portion. Now what is exposed is the figure. This is the figure. And also for this one, this is a specimen of mahogany. Now if you can see, it has a very smooth figure, which is very important. For example, if the wood is used for furniture, of course the user would like to have a smooth surface. So those trees or those wood that produce a smooth figure, they are mostly preferred for the use in furniture. Now we have, for example, this one is the tangisang. Now even if you try to cut this surface smoothly, you cannot really produce as smooth as mahogany. Why? That is because the structural features of the cells in of the wood of tangisang layugan is very different from the features of the cells in the mahogany. So again, the figure is the pattern or design. So another, for this one, this is the lumbayaw. For the lumbayaw, if you try to observe the figure of lumbayaw, there are presence of these streaks. So what are these? These are actually intervessel pittings, which are exposed during the cutting. So intervessel pittings are actually connections between two vessels, and because you cut the surface, then you expose already the intervessel pittings. So again, this is a nice specimen of lumbayaw. So another physical feature in wood is the grain and texture. So grain is different from texture. So grain, we have two types of grain. A grain can be a straight grain or it can be a cross grain. So for the straight grain, for example, you try to observe this mahogany and almasiga. The mahogany, if you try to observe the direction of fiber is towards the longitudinal axis. The same with the almasiga. So the result of that, when the alignment of fibers is directly going upwards, straightly growing upwards, then that is already a straight grain. So what is produced in a straight grain wood is actually a smooth surface. It produces a smooth surface because the fibers are aligning directly going upwards. Now another type of grain is a cross-grained wood. So a cross-grain occurs when the fibers deviate from the longitudinal axis. What do I mean by saying deviate? Meaning, for the mahogany, for example, this one is a straight grain. If this one is a cross grain, then therefore the fibers will tend to deviate or go to another directions instead of going upwards. Example, if you directly observe a specimen of red lawan, the grains of red lawan tend to deviate in this direction. Some grains will deviate into sidewards instead of going directly upwards. The result of that is it produces a very rough surface because some cells are going outwards, others are going inwards. So because the grains, most commonly for dipterocarp species, they have a wavy or curly grain. So meaning their grain is not directly straight. Instead, the grains are deviating into another directions. So example, in this tangile, if you compare the tangile and lumbayaw, again, when I explained to you the figure of lumbayaw, I've told you that there are presence of these exposed surfaces, these streaks, which are intervessel pitting. You can also observe the same features in tangile, but those are not intervessel pittings compared to lumbayaw. What is exposed in the surface of tangile is not intervessel fittings. Instead, these are pores. These are ends of vessels. That is because the vessels of Tangili is going sidewards. So these streaks that you can see in the surface of Tangili are not intervessel fittings. Instead, they are pores of the vessels. That is because the grains of Tangili, and the same with other dipterocarp, some goes outwards, instead directly growing straight lengthwise. So as a result, there are presence of pores right here. So you can actually observe it more using a wood lens. But as a result, although it produces a smooth surface, but you can see these streaks which are not as smooth as mahogany. So aside from grain, we also have this texture. For the texture, we categorize that into three. You can observe the texture of wood in the cross section, unlike the grain, which you can observe in the tangential or radial section. The texture is clearly observed based on the sizes of pores in the cross section. Now, example for this dipterocarp, for the Tangili. Using naked eye, you can already see the pores. The pores are already observable in the specimen of Tangili. When pores are observable, so again, what are those pores? Of course, those pores are caused by the openings, the cavities of cells or the cavities of vessels. When you can already observe those pores in the cross section, then that is a coarse texture. Dipterocarps. So for example, for the red lawaan, you can also, using naked eye without using wood lens, you can already see the pores. So those are coarse, or can be moderately coarse. So fine texture and very fine texture, for example, specimens of Mulave, Tugas, or specimen of Nara, or specimen of Tindalo. You cannot directly observe the pores in the cross section, or you cannot see holes compared to the Tangili, compared to the red lawaan. You cannot see those pores directly using your naked eye. You need a wood lens. You need a wood lens to directly observe the pores of the specimen. So we categorize that as very fine texture. Fine and very fine texture. If you need to use a wood lens just to see the pores. So again, we have the grain. It can be a straight grain, a cross grain. Then we have a texture. Texture can be size, based on size. It can be a very fine. If you need a wood lens to observe the pores, then that is a fine and very fine texture. But if you don't need actually the lens, and you can already see the pores, then those are moderately coarse and coarse texture. Another physical property of wood is luster. So luster, the property of wood that enables it to reflect light, or that exhibiting sheen. Compare the specimen of Lumbayao. For the specimen of Lumbayao, like this, you can already see that reflectance of light. So it reflects light. Therefore, the specimen is lustrous or lustrous. If the specimen reflects light, then the specimen is lustrous compared to for example, this is a specimen of red lawaan. For the red lawaan, if you compare the lustrous between the Lumbayao and then the red lawaan, this one is more lustrous compared to this one. There are some specimens which cannot actually reflect light. For example, this bangkal. Although bangkal is bright orange color, it cannot reflect light the same with the reflectance of Lumbayao. A specimen of Ibinaceae. So, if you compare that to Lumbayao, this one is lesser lustrous. Example of non-lustrous specimens are those Apitong and Tuog. It's like this. When the wood tends to be darker in color, if the wood is darker in color, then it tends to absorb light than to reflect light. So another physical property of wood is the hardness. So let's compare this one. This one is a specimen of red lawan. This one is a specimen of mahogany, and this one is a specimen of tangisang. So if you compare actually by weight, this one is heavier. It's moderate. This one is very light. The tangisang layugan. To test the hardness of wood, you can use scratching method. You can just scratch or nick. You can just scratch it like this. And if you can already see the result of that scratch, then you can already describe if whether the wood is soft or hard based on how deep your scratch can make. For example, if I scratch the red lawan and then I scratch a tangisang layugan, the effect of the scratching tangisang layugan, you can already see that it's somewhat deeper, and actually it's very soft compared to red lawan. So the pterocarps are quite harder compared to this specimen of tangisang layugan. And also again, you can also compare them by weight. So the pterocarps are quite heavier. This is specimen of tindalo. It's actually heavy compared to specimen of tangisang layugan. It's very light. Specimen of bangkal, somewhat moderate. Right, so let's examine the physical features of almasiga. Let's start first with color. The color of almasiga is buff or light brown. The figure can somewhat describe as smooth. The grain of almasiga is a straight grain. The texture of almasiga, you cannot describe that because it does not have pores from the vessels. Even if you use a wood lens, you cannot find any pores except for those resin canals. But you cannot find any pores from vessels because it does not have vessels. It is a soft wood. It only has tracheids. Luster, somewhat lustrous. Hardness, compared for a specimen of tangisang layugan, which is very soft. This one is quite harder. And then it's moderately heavy. So those are the 5 physical of wood. Those things are very important for the identification.